Hello students. Yesterday we have discussed the important topics regarding to the chapter wave optics, and here we have discussed a number of topics that are very important actually for your examinations. And today let's discuss the important topics regarding to chapter ray optics, and later we will discuss the instruments that are based on the ray optics. So first of all, let's discuss these theoretical things. After that we will discuss the applications of this all theory here. So in the case of ray optics, before knowing it, you know that optics is what? Optics is the branch of physics in which we are dealing with the electromagnetic radiations and their effects, or simple, here we are talking about the light and its phenomena that is processing by it, like reflection, refraction, and you have already discussed interference, diffraction and other things. So if you take the summarized way, then the branch that is studying it, that is known as the optics here. So basically optics are divided into three parts. Means the study of light, you can understand it by three ways. First is the geometrical optics, that is known as geometrical optics. Second is wave optics, and third one is quantum optics. So in the case of geometrical optics, there are different properties that we are taking of the light that to study the different phenomena here. Already first of all these things we have discussed. In the case of wave optics, we are taking light as a wave, and that is described by the Huygens principle. So we are using Huygens concept of wave fronts to understand the concept of the wave or concept of the light as a wave, and after that we have proved number of things, number of phenomena that is possessing by the light, like we have already discussed reflection, refraction, diffraction, interference, Doppler effect, polarization. There are number of phenomena that you can explain with the help of wave nature. So that all category is known as wave optics. Second, the quantum optics, as we have discussed in dual nature of radiation, in that case we have taken light as a particle, light as a photon, quanta. So that the concept of the quanta or photons of the light, means we are taking the light as a particle, and we have explained the photoelectric phenomena, Compton phenomena, there are fine spectrum. These all phenomena are explained with the help of the concept of the quantum nature of light. So that all classes, there we are using the quantum property of light to understand the phenomena that are known as quantum optics. The first case that we will discuss here, that is geometrical optics. So in the case of geometrical optics, we are taking light as a ray. So if we are taking light as a ray, it means that here it is taken that light is moving in forms of ray, not the wave. Means it means that if light is moving, then here this in this way as a ray it is moving, and also it is moving in the straight line. So these two properties are the basic concepts of the geometrical optics. Light is as a ray, and also that ray of light that is moving with some velocity, and that is obviously, you know, that if we are talking about the light, then velocity, for the velocity of light we are talking. So with the velocity of light, it is moving in the straight line. First of all, here rectilinear propagation of light we are taking. So this is the basic concept of the ray or geometrical optics that we will study in this chapter, that is known as the ray optics. Clear? Light is taken as the ray and it is propagating rectilinearly. It means that it is propagating in the straight line. And now if it is propagating in the straight line, then what are the phenomena that you can explain with the help of it? So here the two phenomena that you will explain easily, that is reflection of light and refraction of light. So one by one we will discuss that, as they are very important topics for you and for the understanding purpose, because there are number of conceptual and numerical problems that are asked already in your examinations with these topics here. And also you have to know what is geometrical optics here. So I think these concepts are now clear. So in this case also there is one more condition, that the physical independence of ray optics. As in case of wave we are taking their superposition and number of things. Here in the case of ray, two rays are not intersecting with each other. If it means that they are totally independent with each other. If two rays are propagating in the space, then according to geometrical optics or ray optics, they are independent with each other. Their natures are independent. So this concept we will take here to understand the concept of reflection and refraction. So I think geometrical optics is clear. Now in geometrical optics, let's see its phenomena. First of all, let's see the reflection phenomena and also the instruments based on the reflection. Let's see them. Next, that is the reflection of light using the ray optics. How can you explain it? So first of all, what is the reflection of light? Let's see it. So as you know that reflection of light, that is when a light is incident on any plane surface or any interface, and if there is change in path takes place and that change in path is in the same medium, then that time this phenomena is known as reflection phenomena. It means that the change in the path of light in the same medium on the on incident on any interface, that is known as reflection of light wave. So if this is, suppose that any interface we have, and if light is incident on it, and if it is there is change in its path, that is takes place in the same medium, as we are seeing that these mediums are same. So in this case this phenomena of light, that is known as reflection of light. So here you can see this wave is incident wave. Here we are taking the ray concept of light, so that's why I use incident ray. This is reflected ray. And here if you draw a normal to the this interface, then this is known as normal. And the angle attached to this normal by this incident ray, that is known as angle of incidence, and the angle made by this reflected ray with the normal, this is known as reflected angle or angle of reflection. So in this case, normally to obtain the reflection, we just polish this another surface so that no of the light can transmit from here. All of the light will reflect in that same medium. Means only there will be change in part takes place in the same medium. So here this phenomena, I think the reflection phenomena, that is clear. And for this you can perform an experiment for this, that is very easy. So take a white sheet, and after taking the white sheet, draw a line there, and after drawing take a plane mirror that you are using. So that plane mirror, if that is thin, then that is more useful. So if that thin plane mirror you are taking, and now just put that plane mirror on this interface. So after putting the plane mirror or interface, let's take two drawing pins. So that two drawing pins, just pin here. This you have actually, this practical you have done already in your 10th class, so there is no need to describe it again, but still let's describe it. So after taking these two pins, if you will put here, then from here, obviously in this direction, if you will see, there will be some image of this thing that will be formed here. So if you will point that the image by two needles or two drawing pins here, and after that if you will just meet like them, so such types of figure you will get. Means refraction of light phenomena here we are getting. If the actually ray optics or geometrical optics, that is dependent on one more factor. For every point there is the image of that point that occurs in nature. So here we are using that concept for our understanding purpose, as this is a point, this is an object, and here is the image of this object we are getting in this path, and with the help of that we are just trying to understand reflection of light. So two of the laws of reflections are here. This satisfied these conditions. So whenever light is satisfying that two laws, then we can say that there is the reflection of light takes place. So first law is that the incident ray, normal and reflected ray, all these three things are in the same plane. So if they are always in the same plane, you can say that there is reflection phenomena that is taking place. But still there is one more condition that is needed along with it. So that is the angle of incidence that is equal to the angle of reflection here. So if I is equal to angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection, those two phenomena, those two conditions are fulfilled, then there is reflection of light that is taking place. So for the reflection of light that we have discussed, that is first condition is the reflected ray, incident ray and normal that are all in the same plane. Second condition is angle of reflection that is equal to angle of refraction. And you can demonstrate and practical and experiment on it also. So I think you have demonstrated it also in class 10th, but still let's see it again. So if this surface is polished, we are using any mirror here, and take a plain white sheet, and after that draw a line on this. That line should be parallel to the surface of the or lines of the or axis of the pages that you are using for it. And now after that let's use the drawing boards to fix it on the table. And after putting it, after drawing it, let's put a let's put a mirror on it. So if you will put a mirror on it on this surface, so if that mirror is thin, you have to use the thin mirror, otherwise there will be also refraction phenomena. So only if you want to see reflection phenomena, then for that we are using thin mirror here. So after putting the thin mirror in one line, let's put two of the pins here, and let's keep that like this. So this angle is this angle of incidence here. Means draw normal to this line here, and after that draw this line here, and after drawing it at some angle, you can measure this angle with protector also. So after that, put the two drawing pins here. So if you will put two drawing pins here, and now let's see in the other directions the image of these two. So as the geometrical optics works on the image object formation, means it tells us that if there is an object, then there will be also the image of that object. So this is the principle of also geometrical optics that we are using here. So if these two pins are here, and you will see in the different direction, as reflection is the process in which the direction of path of the light rays that is changing. So in the different direction we can see that the image of these two drawing pins there. So if you will just take two different drawing pins, and let's just mount them in the same line, try to mount them, and after that meet them after removing them. So you will find out that after with protector you can measure this angle. So after this experiment we have found that this angle of incidence is equal to this angle of reflection, and also we are seeing that if this is the page we have, so this is the same plane in which we have drawn incident ray, reflected ray and normal. So both of the conditions of the reflections that are fulfilled here, so that's why you can say that reflection phenomena is taking place by the mirrors here. So the latter case that we have to study, that is which of the devices that we are using to understand the reflection phenomena. So number of devices you will use here, but still the mirrors, you know that are device we are using or instruments that we are using for the production of or for the understanding of the reflection phenomena. So if in case of mirrors, we take any glass face or other and we polish the other backward surface of this glass plate, and after that if light is incident on it, then that light is just changes its path in that same medium. That's why reflection phenomena takes place there. So for reflection phenomena, we polish the backward surface to get more clear image. So you know that already you have studied in your class 10th, that is if you are using a mirror, then the image of that mirror is inverted, that is erect, that is at the same distance as the distance of object from the mirror, and there are number of things that you have seen there. So these are conditions for the mirrors we are getting. So first of all, mirrors are, how many types of mirrors we have? We have basically three types of mirrors. or in other way you can see that we have two types of mirror. First is plane mirror, second is spherical mirrors. So in case of plane mirrors, I've just talked about the plane mirror, the image that we are getting erected, inverted, and there are number of things that we are getting. Means the distance of image that is at the same distance as the distance of object from the mirror. So these are the conditions there in the case of mirrors that we are getting, and also how many numbers of images that you will get in case of mirror, that you can understand very easily by the this is 360 by theta angle, where theta is the angle that is formed with the plane of the mirror by the light ray. And if this 360 by theta that is even integer, then that time for the number of images that are formed by that mirror, that is counted by this, and if it is odd, then in that case the number of images that are counted by this one. Clear? So this is the concept of a spherical mirror that we are using for the calculation of number of mirrors. And also the second types of device that we are using here, that is the spherical mirror. So spherical mirrors are, you know, that are a part of the hollow sphere that we are using. So if we have, suppose this is a hollow sphere that we have, and in this hollow sphere, if this is a part of the hollow sphere, and in this case if this surface is polished, then for this polished surface, if the reflecting surface is its inside surface, then in that case this is known as concave spherical mirror. Means if light is incident on this surface, and after incident this light is changing its path, and reflection is taking place here in this medium, here reflection is taking place, then in that condition you can say that there is the reflection of light that is taking place by this spherical mirror. This is known as concave spherical mirror. In the second case that we have, that is, if suppose that this is a part of light spherical mirror, and if this inside surface is polished here, so if this inside surface is polished and this outside surface is now reflecting surface, this light is incident on this surface, and reflection of light is taking place from here, then after reflection these types of spherical mirrors are known as convex spherical mirrors. So two types of spherical mirrors we have. One is concave spherical mirror, second is convex spherical mirror. And if light is incident on it, then different types of properties of light that we are getting. So in the one case that we are getting diverging nature of light, and in the other case we are getting converging nature of light. So after incidence of this convex spherical mirror, you have seen that there is a convergence of light that is taking place. This light converges at some points here, and also after incidence of this concave spherical mirror, light diverges in nature. So two types of things we are getting, and after that you can explain the focal length and focal point of the mirrors here. So the point at which the light converges, if light is incident parallel to this, means if light rays are parallel and they are incident on this mirror, and after incidence if they are just converging at some point, so that point is known as focal point, and the length from the center point of this mirror, that is known as focal length of the spherical mirror. So this is the concept of the focal length that we are using, and also if you will see it numerically, then this is just half of the radius of curvature of the hollow sphere through which we have made this spherical mirrors. So here you are seeing that only this spherical mirror that we are using, or this spherical mirror, that is, this is our spherical mirror. This convex spherical mirror we have. So this is a part of the hollow sphere, and obviously that hollow sphere should have some radius. So if you will you know the radius of curvature of that hollow sphere, the just half distance is r/2 distance, that will be the focal length of it. So let's see how can you prove it. The focal length of the spherical mirror, that is 1/2 of the radius. See how can you prove it. So for the proof, let's take the concave spherical mirror, and the light is incident on the concave spherical mirror in this way. So if in the case of concave spherical mirror, we know that this surface is polished we have, and now suppose that this is and if light is incident here, if light ray that is incident, and this would be parallel first of all. So if this is, suppose that parallel here, so we are taking one light ray that is incident on it, and at some point, suppose that here at some point M it is incident, and after incidence obviously there will be the reflection of light that will takes place from here. So if reflection of light that will takes place here, and you can draw a normal on that. So normal, this can be drawn from the center point. So from center point, if you will meet this point there, then this will be the CM will be the normal on this spherical mirror. So if you will take here, suppose theta is the angle of incidence, then definitely here this from geometry you can see that this is also the angle theta we have. And also as you know that reflection is taking place here, then from the law of reflection, angle of incidence that will be equal to angle of reflection, as this is normal. So with normal, the refracted rays that will make angle of reflection, with normal incident ray that will make angle of incidence. So this will be also equal to theta. So as a whole this will be equal to 2 theta. So this angle that will be equal to 2 theta. So this is point F here. So as manually we have discussed that if light is parallel and that is incident on it, then after incidence, if reflected light that will converge and that will meet at that point on the this principal axis of the mirror, that point is known as focal point of the mirror. And to calculate the distance from the mirror, we can draw here normal. Let's draw perpendicular here. Suppose this is point D. So this FT is focal length, and this CD is that is radius of curvature. So let's the distance of radius of curvature, that is R, and this distance, this is focal length, that is equal to small f. Now we can use the geometry, and with the help of that geometry you can prove it very easily. So let's see that. So as here we have angle MCP, MC, this is D, this is equal to theta, and angle MFD, that is equal to 2 theta we have. So this is point P we have. And now if you can see here in this triangle CMD, here we are seeing a triangle, and this is a normal to here obviously. So you can take the concept of tan theta and trigonometrical concept. So using tan theta here, you will see tan theta is perpendicular upon base. So what is perpendicular? We have MD, and what is base? We have that is CD. So MD upon CD. In the same way, you can write, if you will see this triangle here, FMD. So in this triangle, tan 2 theta we can take. So the tan 2 theta, that is equal to MD perpendicular upon FD. Now if theta is very small, obviously here angle of frequency we are taking, this is very small. So in that case you can remove tan theta from here, or obviously it will be directly to angle, this angle is theta v. Now this theta is equal to, we have MD upon CD, 2 theta we have MD upon FT. So here we can put the value of theta. So let's see and put the value of theta. At some points just write it. FD is equal to, we have a small f, and CD that we have capital R. Now this 2 theta, that is equal to MD upon FT, or in place of theta, let's use this value MD upon CD. So we will get MD upon CD, or that will be equal to MT upon FD, or MD will be cancelled out from here. You can calculate value FD here. So this value will be obtained at CD by 2. So as the distance of FD, that is focal length, that is F, and this distance CD is radius of curvature. So this is the proof of the concept that I was talking about. Like you can calculate the focal length of a spherical mirror, or if you know the radius of curvature of that spherical mirror, just take its half. At that half distance, the focal point will be there, and the distance, your focal length, you can calculate it very easily. You can calculate it with the help of radius of curvature concept, because the radius, that is easy to calculate with the help of spherical volume or sphere area and other factors. You can calculate it very easily. So with the help of that, if you know it already, then you can calculate its focal length without any difficulty, without any other experiment. By calculations you can done it. So now I think this concept is clear. Then let's see what is the sign convention that we are using in case of mirror. When you will use for the object distance negative sign, we will use positive sign, or for image distance when will you use positive or negative sign. So let's see the sign convention. This is very important factor of the study of ray optics, the sign convention technique here. So let's see in the case of mirror how can you understand the sign convention. So let's see the sign convention, how can you understand it. So again, sign convention I am just going to tell you in the case of concave spherical mirror. You can apply it for convex also, and later the things we have proved for the concave spherical, that is also applicable for the convex spherical mirror. That is so easy to understand. You can prove it there also it is. So if you have, suppose this is concave spherical mirror we have, and this is the polished surface of it. So if this surface is polished and this is the reflecting surface we have. Now let's draw a principal axis that is meeting. This is known as the pole of the spherical mirror. So if this we have, this is mirror, and now you know that this is the direction of the incidence of light. So if light is ray is traveling in this direction, means if you are taking the pole and if you can draw a line here, now it will actually behave just like the quadrant as you are studying in the in your mathematics class. So this is the positive quadrant, this is negative, or you can understand it by x. Suppose this is x axis. So here we are saying here, if behind this in the right side from this pole P, this is positive x axis, either this is negative x axis. So whenever light rays will be here, or there will be any distance, suppose if at this distance light ray is incidenting and we are just calculating its focal length, then in that case this will be negative, this focal length will be negative. And if you are getting the same thing in this direction, then this distance will be positive. So here for this this side you will take positive sign, and for this direction you will take here negative sign. So if the object that are emitting light and here, so if this is placed at this distance, then this will be the distance from the object from this pole, that is in this direction. So definitely this will be taken as negative. And if its image is formed also in the same direction here, then definitely here its image will be also taken as the negative sign. And if its image is formed behind it, then in that case here in this direction it will taken as positive with positive sign. So I think the sign convention for first of all the position of object or image, that is clear. The second thing, sometimes we have such types of objects that are heighted. So it's you can see that like I'm heighted, and if you are seeing yourself in your mirrors, then what will be the condition for the height also. So if height is, this is principal axis, and if it in upward direction, if it is heighted, then that case the height h will taken as positive. And if we are getting the inverted image, means if it is obtaining in downward direction for the pod, then in that case its height that is taken as negative. So whenever we are getting inward image, then that time the height of it that will taken as negative, and whenever you are getting it in upward direction, it will taken as positive. So this is the sign convention for the mirrors that we are using, that is applicable for all mirrors that you will get, like for plane mirror, for convex spherical mirror, for concave spherical mirror, for all types of mirrors it is applicable there. So this sign convention actually helps us to calculate the exact distance from the, and also to understand actually in which direction the image will be formed. Like in case of plane mirrors, if you are talking about it, will the image will be from behind the mirror. It means that if object is, suppose this is the plane mirror, and if object is on this side from this distance, then image will formed on the behind of this on the same stage. So here the object distance u, if you are denoting it by u, then this will be negative, but the image distance that is formed in here, that is positive here. So in that case it helps us to understand the concept. If suppose that somewhere it is written that f is negative or f is positive, then in that case how can you understand where its image is formed? So you can understand easily it by the sign convention law. So it helps us to understand easily the formation of the image by the mirrors very easily, or lens very easily. So later the concept of lens we will study when we will study the concept of refraction. So I think the concept that we have studied today, that is clear, students. And if it is clear, then in next class we will discuss the mirror formula here. So how can you formulate the mirror formula, and where you can use it in your daily life and also in the scientific world where you can use it. So in next class we will see them. So for today let's end the class here. Thank you.